Hey, everybody, this is Doug from Live in Memory. Everybody knows I love talking about memories. I love living memories. I love hearing about the memories that you've lived and the things you're planning to do, the new memories that await. And I tell you what, I also love our national parks. North, south, east, west, everywhere we go, wonderful memories await in our national parks. And so, another thing coming up is that this coming Saturday, so, April 22nd, is the start of National Parks Week. And you know what? I just love, again, talking about parks, that let's spend a few minutes talking about National Park Weeks, but also introduce you to a park where just countless amazing memories await. So I have the absolute delight today of having with us Jessica Ferracane, who is the public affairs specialist from Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Aloha, Jessica.
Aloha, aloha kakahiaka, Doug.
What was that?
Oh, it's Hawaiian for good morning. Aloha, means hello, goodbye, I love you. It's kind of a general, all-encompassing greeting, but the kakahiaka part is morning. So aloha kakahiaka means good morning and welcome to morning, because it is a lot earlier here in Hawaii. I think we're 6 hours behind you.
Yeah, I am. That's right. I'm in Toledo, Ohio, and you're way there in Hawaii, so we're 6 hours different. So,
yep.
So, okay, I got the aloha part right.
Yeah. Do you want to try to say this?
Yeah, I want to try it.
Hawaiian word of the day. Okay. So the aloha part you have wired. That's great.
Yes.
Kaka hiaka. So say kaka.
Kaka.
Hiaka.
Hiaka.
Yeah. Kaka hiaka.
Kaka hiaka.
Okay, now say the whole thing. Aloha kakahiaka.
That's awesome.
Can you say the whole phrase?
Aloha kakahiaka.
Bravo! All right.
Hey, it's fun to learn new things too, right? This is I travel around the world. I love learning just the simple words, the thank yous, the please, the good morning, stuff like that. So next time I'm in Hawaii, aloha kakahiaka is definitely going to be on my morning ritual when I'm having pineapple.
Awesome.
So I have to ask, where are you right now? I'm looking at that background, and you've got, it's like it's an eruption right in front of us here.
Right. So I work at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and what my background is we recently had both volcanoes in the national park erupting simultaneously.
Seriously.
Yeah. So over I think, well, it's hard to see what one of the eruptions is the Mauna Loa eruption. Mauna Loa is the world's most massive active volcano. That erupted in November of 27th of 2002 and stopped erupting on December 13th, 2022. It had not erupted since 1984 when I was in high school. And the other eruption that you're seeing at the same time is the Kilauea eruption. So Hawaii Volcanoes, plural, National Park. We have 2 volcanoes in our park. So Kilauea, which is almost always erupting, and then Mauna Loa, which just had this historic eruption. They were erupting at the same time. So a photographer caught this really amazing shot of both
that
eruptions.
Is so cool. That is so cool. Just for background, my family and I, we visited the park back in 2012. So as we're talking here, I'm going to share some pictures that we took. And so it was so fun just to go through the photo album of sorts and pick out the different pictures, the different memories that we have from the park. So we're going to talk about Hawaii Volcanoes National Park in just a minute. Before that, let's spend a minute, if you don't mind, let's talk about National Parks Week.
Yes.
And so that starts this Saturday, April 22nd. And so for folks, if you watch this a couple years from now, the date will change. But this is pretty much an annual event, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The National Park Service has had National Park Week pretty much nonstop since the mid-1990s. And it's usually more than 1 week. It's usually I think the National Park Week this year is about 9 days. Usually kicks off with a fee-free day. So we have, over 400 national parks in the system.
Yes,
only about 100 actually charge an entrance fee. Like Hawaii Volcanoes, it's $30 to get into our park, but it lasts for 7 days, your pass. But all fee charging parks throughout the service are free this Saturday, April 22nd.
Oh, cool. I have a question to ask you about that,
Sure.
about the payment. my son is taking an internship, but we live in Toledo, Ohio. He's going to be out in Seattle this summer for an internship. So he's going to drive out west.
Okay.
And so I helped him map out, places to go like Badlands and, Yellowstone and, Glacier, places like that.
Mount Rainier, one of my second favorite park in the whole system.
He's a hiker, so he's going to be out.
Oh, he's going to love the parks out there.
So he could buy an annual pass, can he?
Yes.
I mean, and then it should cover him for all the parks for the whole summer, right?
That's right. So there are annual passes available on the nps.gov website. There are also free passes if you are active duty military or a veteran or a Gold Star family. You've lost somebody due to their military service. You can get into all national parks for free.
Cool.
And then there's also fourth grader passes as well. Every kid outdoors pass. So
cool.
People who are interested in those passes should definitely check out the nps.gov website.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so doing some research, you can also go at the nps.gov website to learn about National Park Week, right?
Right. Yes, definitely. There is a different subject page just for National Park Week. Like I said, the 22nd is a fee-free day, but it's also Earth Day. And so a lot of parks around the country are having stewardship programs where people can come in and do some volunteer work and give back. There's
great.
Also, all kinds of things happening on that day besides a fee-free day.
That's cool. And from what I saw, they're almost doing something every day of the week. They have a
almost every single day, right? So at like Hawaii Volcanoes on April 22nd, it's a fee-free day, but we're also offering a family fun event called Journey at the Summit, where people go to these different activity stations and they roll dice, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, and they develop a special character. And they do these little activities as a family or as a couple or just by themselves. And that's kind of fun. So a lot of parks have really neat things like that happening.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And so I know like in Twitter and that I do a lot of stuff, connect with a lot of people on Twitter. There's a lot of things that, like your park story, my park story. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to kind of interact with other people too. Which is
right. Yeah, especially for visitors who can't come to a park for whatever reason. You can connect with any park virtually and share your memories of your national park visit. Or if you're in a park and you're wanting to share your photos, just hashtag it, your park story, my park story, and then we can look at that and, maybe we can share it, or at least we can all connect on that virtual level.
Absolutely. That's the cool thing about it is, like you said, you're able to connect and like to promote the memories out there. And I did learn that there's more than just one day a year that you actually have, free days to get in, which that's
right.
Cool.
Yeah, we have 5 free days across the National Park Service, all the fee charging ones again this year. We already had the celebration for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and then April 22nd, of course. And then we have one in August for the Great American Outdoors Act, National Public Lands Day, which is the largest national volunteer event there is in our country. And then, of course, in November, Veterans Day.
Oh, cool. Well, that's great because looking at travels, I'm the first one to admit that whenever we travel someplace, I always try to sneak in a national park or monument, any of the national historic sites that we have. So that's fun to know about that.
Right.
All right. So is there anything else you think we missed about National Park Week? Because I want to get to talk about Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, before we lose sight of National Park Week, because it does start this coming Saturday, definitely check out the website to see what's happening in your neck of the woods. Oh, every single state and a lot of our American territories like Puerto Rico and Guam, American Samoa, have national park units. And there is something happening at every single park. Like, for us, we have the Journey at the Summit Day. We also have a Bark Ranger Day.
Oh, cool.
Our sister park over on Maui, Haleakala National Park, has a Junior Ranger program happening on April 29th. So there's just so much to go through. I couldn't even begin to list. I did hear Mammoth Cave is having a really special concert with the Louisville Symphony Orchestra and Yo-Yo Ma playing in the massive cave there. So that'll be exciting.
That would be fun.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
I gotta tell you, I love Mammoth Cave. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've got a daughter moving to Louisville, Kentucky in another month there. And so she'll be down there for a year. And I know we'll be visiting Mammoth Cave a couple times, over
Right.
that period of time. It's just a
Oh,
wonderful
how lucky
place.
for her.
Yes, yes, for sure. All right. Let's get to the main event for me.
All right.
The National Park Week isn't, but got to talk about Hawaii volcanoes. So, for people, you think about Hawaii, the different islands, maybe you could tell, where is Hawaii Volcanoes National Park?
Right. So we are located on the island of Hawaii. It is sometimes called the Big Island because it is the biggest island in all of the Hawaiian chain, but it's also one of the least developed islands. So this is not the island that has Honolulu or Pearl Harbor. This is Hawaii Island.
Right.
And we are located, you can see on the map here, on the southeastern side of the island of Hawaii. If you've ever been to Oahu, our park is massive. It goes from sea level all the way to the summit of Mauna Loa at nearly 14,000 feet, and it is over 355,000 acres. If you've ever been to Oahu, we are almost the size of Oahu, our national park. So,
really?
just for perspective, it is impossible to visit every single aspect of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, even in a lifetime. I've worked here since the year that you got to visit the park in 2011, 2012. And there are still many areas of the park that I have not seen. And I'm a backcountry hiker and backpacker. There are still many areas I have not yet been to in the, more than a decade that I've worked in the park.
Okay. I'm still just amazed when you said that it's as big as Oahu.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh.
Right. We have 7 different ecological zones in the park, ranging from almost like the subalpine Arctic-ish like area near the summit of Mauna Loa to the coastal vegetated, beach-like areas down at the coast.
Sure. Wow. I had no idea I knew it was big. Yeah, it's definitely big. Had no idea it was that large.
It's massive.
How long has it been a park?
We were established as a national park in 1916 on August 1st. So we're actually a couple weeks older than the National Park Service itself. And I think what's important to point out, though, even though we became a national park in 1916, Native Hawaiians have been very deeply connected to this landscape far longer than that, and have come to the summits of Kilauea and Mauna Loa because they are sacred areas to Native Hawaiians and for many other people too, because of the power and the mana that is present here in Hawaii, and especially on an active volcano.
I can imagine that over hundreds and probably thousands of years, there have been 2 people just like us talking about this place. You know what I mean? That they went to visit, like, you got to go visit this place. It's really, just amazing. Because their people have been around a lot longer before us, and let's do our best to make sure we get keep it and make sure that it's there for obviously.
I think and I'm not Native Hawaiian, so I don't like to speak for them, but I do connect with many of them. I think Kilauea and Mauna Loa aren't spectacles to Native Hawaiians. They are sacred places, Wahipana, legendary places that have so much meaning for them. The rainforest that flourishes all around the summit area of Kilauea is also really important for Native Hawaiians, and also native plant and animal species as well.
Wow, thanks for bringing that up, because it's easy to look at it from just the tourist going in there, but to me it's always important to learn about the history, the culture, really what's, it's more than what you just see. There's a lot more that, to it than what you just see. So thank you for that. So you mentioned, the big volcanoes. You've got Kilauea and you got Mauna Loa. This is a picture of Kilauea that I took one night.
That just cracks me up.
I'm going to tell you this.
This photo.
Why is that?
This photo is funny to me, and I don't mean that in a mean way, Doug. It's because when you live on an active volcano or 2 of them, the landscape changes all the time. And back in 2018, we had a huge, what we call a hulihia, an upheaval, a really catastrophic almost event happened on Kilauea, where the summit, where that picture is taken and the one previously, it collapsed. All the magma drained out of the summit magma chamber and erupted out into the lower East Rift Zone. It destroyed 700 homes. Luckily, no lives were lost.
Wow.
But the summit area that you're showing now with the rainbow, that has quadrupled in size.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the depth, without the magma supporting all of that rock, it just
caved in.
Like almost 2,000 feet. And then it expanded like 4 times. You can see where the rainbow is landing in this photo.
Yeah.
You can see some yellowish like sulfur banks exposed.
Yep,
that now is this giant wall of yellow sulfur. And then, I mean, it's just really hard to describe in words. It is just dramatically different. And, you know, active volcanoes, it's often not the same day twice. So you who came in 2012, right, you wouldn't recognize the summit now. It has been vastly renovated by natural forces.
You know, I always say that Mother Nature is my favorite artist because, you know, just so many great things are created. But this is a perfect example of it. And I think what's really cool about this park is that you could go to other parks. And if you go in 2012, if you go in 2023, you get, you know what I mean? It's pretty much going to be the same.
Yes.
You know, you're not going to see a lot of changes. But that means when we go next time, it's going to be almost a different park than what we saw it, you know, the last time, which is
definitely, especially at the summit area.
Oh my!
You know, we've had like Chain of Craters Road, which was built in I forgot. I think it was the early 50s. That road, which goes from the summit of Kilauea all the way down to the coast, has been inundated by lava flows, sections of it, 5 different times. And the Park Service, you know, waits for the flow to stop, rebuilds the road. Another flow comes over, covers part of the road, rebuilds it. And it is. It's not only really interesting, but it can sometimes be challenging as park managers to keep areas open to the public and keep it accessible.
What's the definition of insanity or something like that? You know, do the same thing over and over.
No comment. Well, and that's the thing in Hawaii too. You know, our volcanoes are shield volcanoes. They are typically not cataclysmic, really deadly eruptions. Typically, when there is an eruption in Hawaii, we run towards it. We want to see it. And part of the mission of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is to provide safe access to active volcanoes. I love this photo you're showing up here in the upper left hand. That is a dramatic fountaining eruption of the 1969 Mauna Ulu eruption. That is one of the, that's in the East Rift Zone of Kilauea volcano. And you can see these 60s type of vehicles there.
Yes.
That was a very special eruption that lasted about 5 years. It started a couple years after I was born. So there are areas out in Mauna Ulu where I look at it, I'm like, wow, I am actually older than the hill right there. And there's not very many places, you know, on Earth where you go. And because people think of rock, geologically speaking, you know, of, you know, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, maybe years old. Here in Hawaii volcanoes, in other volcanic areas, you could be looking at a rock that is actually quite younger than you are.
Wow.
Even if you're very young, because we just had, you know, a massive eruption at Kilauea and Mauna Loa, and these new lava flows, which are rock, you know, basalt, they are now on the surface. And, you know, if you were born in, let's say, October of last year, now there is rock that is younger than you are.
So is the park effectively getting larger all the time? You know, I mean, the boundaries are changing?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. When there are lava flows that are going into the ocean, they build up new land. And I believe it's something like over 500 acres since 1990 have been added to the park.
Wow.
But a lot of that time, that new rock, those deltas are on very unstable sand or coral rock, and they can collapse and fall away. So, you know, technically, yes, we do get bigger, but we also lose parts of that new land too, with erosion and waves.
Sure. Interesting. So you're saying again that this is so different.
It's so
gone.
different. I mean, generally it's the same. Like you can see that's Kilauea Overlook, I can tell. But behind you, where your family is, that is one giant gaping maw now. Just a giant hole, like a Grand Canyon. Not as big as the Grand Canyon, of course, but that is kind of the scope, the magnitude of what happened here.
Jessica, I can't wait to tell my kids about that. I cannot wait to tell them about this. That is so cool.
And then it's really unique. And we actually had to close the park for 134 days. There were more than 10,000 felt earthquakes. And in these photos where you see that plume of gas coming out, there are just these giant roiling clouds of rock debris and Pele's hair, which is volcanic glass that gets stretched out, and SO2 and CO2 and things like that. It's very hard to describe, but it was definitely pretty catastrophic. And then when that activity was done, we didn't have an eruption for a few years.
Wow.
Until 2020. And then there's been about 3 or 4 different cycles of Kilauea since then.
So I remember going to, I think it was the Jagger Overlook, the building, and they had all the monitors. You had all these, like earthquake sensors and stuff like that.
Yes.
The
U.S. Geological Survey is, I think it's one of the only volcanic observatories located in a national park. They're right there on the edge, along with Jagger Museum, during the 2018 eruption. And those buildings were right on the edge. They didn't fall in, but we did have a road fall in. Crater Rim Drive, part of that fell into the crater. But the buildings were badly damaged. The foundations are irreparable. So we are removing them this summer. Jagger Museum and the USGS HVO facility will be no more.
Oh my goodness. There you go. It's changing. It's changing on us again.
Yes.
Well, what's not changing is the lava. We were so just enthralled by all the lava everywhere, and so, and we learned about different types of lava, but we were just amazing. All this lava, I can't imagine what it's like when you see this just like coming at you or coming down. It just, do you get to see this often, or is this something that visitors, you can't predict it, right? But there's an opportunity.
You can't predict it. Scientists have a pretty good idea. Seismic activity, so the number of earthquakes, the location of earthquakes, and the depth of earthquakes really give an indication that magma is on the move, and it could possibly erupt, and then, of course, becomes lava when it's on the surface. And also, increase in gases will make a difference. So USGS closely monitors both all the volcanoes in Hawaii, but particularly Mauna Loa and Kilauea, which are the 2 active ones. And just a minute ago, I said we're going to remove those buildings, but just so you know, USGS Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, they need to be on Kilauea, obviously, and near Mauna Loa. So they're relocating in the park. They should have a groundbreaking sometime this summer. So they will stay in the park. Their science really helps keep our community safe and the park open for visitors to experience.
And here, this was another memory of one of those lava flows going over a road. Just cutting out the road.
I have a little bit of trouble hearing you because we have heavy rain happening right now.
Okay.
Here in Paradise. So I didn't quite hear you.
Oh, I'm just showing a picture of the lava going over a road here.
Yes.
It was, one of the roads, like you said, is happening all the time.
That's correct. Where you're seeing down here in the bottom photo, that was probably about 2006-ish, down at the bottom of Chain of Craters Road. And then this other one where you see these cliffs and these different types of lava coming down.
Yep.
That was from the Mauna Ulu eruption, the one that had those fountains. That eruption reached the ocean, actually. I like this picture because it shows the 2 main types of Hawaiian lava. You have this smooth, kind of ropey, kind of elephant skin type of lava. That's called pahoehoe. And then you have a'a lava. Pahoehoe is a little bit more slower moving, maybe a little bit less gas. It's more viscous. the lava has a lot of more gas in it, and it's faster moving, it's real clinkery when it comes out, and it's very rough and crumbly. So I really like that picture because it shows both types of lava extruding out from that Mauna Ulu eruption.
So how long, I'm just curious, how long after an eruption can you then get near a lava flow? I mean, how quickly does it take for it to like harden?
It can harden in just minutes. So,
really,
for instance, on this photo, during our ocean entry eruptions, we allow the public to go there. Sometimes it's a really long hike. Sometimes it's right there at the end of the road. It depends on timing is everything, right? But we do let visitors get right up close to lava. It is when it's on the surface.
right?
It will harden over very quickly. I've actually walked across lava. I do not recommend that for people. I was with experts who knew what they were doing, but because it can burn the soles of your shoes, and you certainly don't want 2,000-degree Fahrenheit lava burning through your skin. But it does harden very quickly once the air reaches it on these types of surface flows.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that is really cool. That I mean, it's. I don't know if it does weeks or something like that. I didn't realize it hardens that quickly, so that you can, research it. So there are other things than just the lava and the volcanoes, right? I mean, there's other, like, I'll just call them hidden features and stuff like that around the park.
Right. So you're one of the most popular areas to visit in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, besides the summit of Kilauea, because the roads and there's a lot of trails to hike and explore right there at the summit. Really close to the summit is the Nahuku lava tube. This is the Hawaiian place name. Some people know it as Thurston lava tube from the man who says he discovered it, but it's actually Nahuku. And it is a giant lava tube that was formed about 500 years ago, where there was an eruption at the summit of Kilauea, which sent rivers of lava towards the ocean. And what happens when a lava tube is formed is that the surface starts to harden, but there's still molten material in the middle of it, kind of like, I guess, a frozen stream on the mainland. So the surface is frozen, but it's still flowing beneath it. But once the magma is expended, it's done, there's no more magma going through it, it leaves behind this giant hollow tube or lava cave. And that's what you have here. It is a walk-through lava tube. It is lightly lit with amber lights, as you can tell, in the day, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But if you want to walk through it in the dark with a flashlight, you can do that too, from 8 p.m. onwards until we turn the lights back on at 8 in the morning. It's a really cool thing to see. And also, there's a giant rainforest that has popped up since the 500 years, and you can see ohia tree roots growing through the surface of the lava tube. There are beautiful giant, what we call hapu'u tree ferns, which are endemic to Hawaii, growing in that area. It's what we call what the Park Service has set aside as a special ecological area. So we try very hard to remove non-native plant species and only allow native species to grow. So before you get to the lava tube, you're actually walking through pretty intact native Hawaiian rainforest, which the native birds, of course, rely on too.
So a question I did have was, like plant and animal life, like plants, how quickly after a lava flow does nature kind of start the rebuild or, the regeneration of sorts? With like plants, I don't know about animals, but plants for sure.
Very quickly. Sometimes just within, months of a lava flow. Like
no kidding.
2018 lava flow I was telling you about, which destroyed the homes down in the lower Puna area. There are plants growing already. And one of those species which are really important to pioneering new lava flows are the ohia trees. They are one of the, if not the most important watershed species that we have, and they are endemic to Hawaii. So in a lot of ferns to start to grow pretty quickly. I mean, people always think volcanoes are so destructive.
Yes.
It must be terrible. But without volcanoes, there would be no Hawaiian Islands. We wouldn't exist. Every island in Hawaii is a volcano or maybe a composite of several different volcanoes that merge together. So to us, volcanoes are the foundation of life. And certainly to the plant and animal life here, they are the foundations of life.
That's amazing. I wouldn't have thought it was that soon that nature, I don't want to say regenerates, maybe it just cycles through into things. So that is really amazing. What about any animals? Do you have
so
birds, right?
Well, there are a lot of different animals in the ocean, and of course everybody knows the sharks, the tiger sharks, and things like that. On land, we really don't have any native predators, and that's why a lot of the animal and plant species here have evolved not to have really strong defenses. So our largest native land animal is the nene, or the Hawaiian goose. This looks a lot like the Canada goose on the mainland, but they're much prettier. And they're also far more rare. So these geese have evolved over the millennia. They've lost the webbing between their toes so they can walk on lava flows. They're not really afraid of humans or cars, which is actually to their detriment, because unfortunately people unknowingly feed them thinking, oh, they're so cute, they must be hungry. And that habituates them to cars, and then that's a deadly combination. So we really urge people not to approach nene, give them their room, use your Zoom, and definitely never ever feed them.
Absolutely.
And then there's and so the nene are a big deal, but also the forest birds in Hawaii are very special. And again, all of these birds have come here. They've evolved to become endemic species found nowhere else in the island, nowhere else on Earth but in Hawaii. So we work very hard to protect them. We have, I think, over 50 threatened and endangered species that are thriving and are protected in the park.
Well, I would guess, venture a guess here, that when you look at the different plants, you need the birds and the wind and things like that to blow in the seeds and the stuff to kind of help that regeneration.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot of these, there's this one in particular type of plant called a lobelia. We have different types of lobelias throughout the park that are native, and the birds' beaks have evolved to be able, and they're curved like the EEV, in order to extract the nectar from these curved lobelia blossoms. So it's really neat, the evolution that has happened in tandem here in Hawaii between these species that rely on each other.
Wow, absolutely fascinating. And just like the arch. That's another
fascinating. This is
what
you're showing here is the Hole Sea Arch. This is something a lot of visitors get to see because they can drive right down to the end of Chandler Craters Road and see it from the end of the road. But one of the hidden features about the park is, it's kind of my passion, is it is, to me, you can drive the park. You can certainly go to overlooks and check it out. But to really connect to this park and this landscape is to see it on foot. It is best explored on foot. And this area, the Puna coastline, there is an incredible trail that takes you out to some backcountry overnight campsites. They're not easy to get to. You do need a permit, but you can get away from other humans and you can see a night sky that will blow your mind. I've never seen, I've sailed across the ocean 3 times, so I've seen some magnificent night skies from a very small boat in the middle of the Pacific, but hiking along this coastline is similar to that experience.
Yeah, so, one of the questions I had, Jessica, is, what can visitors do, as an activity? And clearly hiking is really a way to go.
And you don't have to go, on a super long, extended 3 nights in the backcountry hike. There are so many good front country trails too in the park. Crater Rim Trail, Halima'uma'u Trail, which takes you from the summit at 4,000 feet down to the floor of Kilauea Volcano. Those are all front country trails that you can park right at Kilauea Visitor Center and access those trailheads, 3-4 miles at most. And people love those as well.
That is so cool because I think many people might think it's just looking at a site, but you can actually get out there and actually see it. It, feel the crunch in your feet.
And even if you are in a wheelchair or if you have a toddler in a stroller, there are areas that are still, there's paved trails, there's accessible trails too, that you can still get a feel for this. One of my favorite things to do, especially when I have friends from off island who are coming to visit, is I take them to the steam vents or the Wahine Kapu area, where on the edge of Kilauea, these earth cracks go down so deeply, the precipitation is hitting hot rock and creating these voluminous clouds of steam, not gas, so they're not hazardous. And you can walk through them. And Hawaiians used to go and cleanse in the steam before they would go to Kilauea to pay homage to Pele and other deities of the area. So it's really a unique experience to kind of have like this natural outdoor sauna to kind of get into this, volcanic landscape. Really fun.
Could you mountain bike or anything like that? I mean, if you wanted to.
Mountain biking is one of those things. Really, we need bicycles to stay on pavement because of the natural species that could be impacted there. And also some of the trails are narrow. And so you have, hikers, and there's an interaction between bikes and hikes that don't always work together. But yeah, it is still a good park to bike in, but on pavement.
Gotcha. And that's good to know. That's good to know. I'm sure, there are people out there wondering about, biking and stuff like that. So we've been talking about all the things that we could do, all the things you could see, the hiking and that. What recommendations do you have about things like the wear? I can tell you this, Jessica, when we were there, the picture you see here, we're all wearing short sleeves. 12 hours earlier at night, we were bundled up and just freezing. So.
Right. Yeah, it's a good idea to be prepared for all kinds of weather. I definitely start with closed-toe, sturdy shoes. It looks like everybody is doing well in that regard in your photo. And also, lava rock is super sharp and super rough. So if you have Vibram soles, even better. But you don't have to go out and buy expensive shoes to come here. But definitely sturdy closed-toe shoes. We recommend long pants because if you're hiking over lava, you can nick your knee or something like that. And lava basalt has a lot of silica in it, so it can be sharp as glass. So you want to protect your skin. And then of course, it can be raining at the summit or anywhere in the park for that matter. So a light shell rain jacket is great. Long sleeves are helpful if you want to avoid the sun or just stay warm at night kind of thing. But also, it's sunscreen and sunglasses and a hat really help as well. So kind of be prepared for all types of weather. And certainly if you're staying after dark to enjoy the dark night sky, or if there's an eruption, definitely warm clothes are a must because we're at the summit of Kilauea is about 4,000 feet above sea level. People don't realize it drops down to really cool temperatures, like in the 40s, sometimes during winter months. And they're surprised. We kind of giggle. A lot of the visitors that come over from Kona, we see them wrapped in their beach towels, and we call that the Waikoloa poncho because that's all the only warm clothes that they brought with them.
I think I told my kids that it should be cooler out. I would think it would be cooler. I didn't realize it was going to be cold.
Right. Yes. A lot of visitors just think about, they're on vacation. They think Hawaii, but they're not thinking elevation and that type of thing.
Yeah, and having been there with kids, I love that recommendation of long pants because we did stress that with the kids about because they want to walk around, and if they fall, something like that. We're at least we got that right. We get the long pants right.
Right.
The jackets into their story. Cool. So, are there any special events that go on during the year at Volcanoes?
Of course, there's National Park Week, which we covered really well. Every single day at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, we have a ranger guided program. So you can come to the visitor center and take one of our tours is called Explore the Summit. Spend about an hour with a ranger who will take you through the rainforest right to the edge of Kilauea. There's also guided hikes that go out to Mauna Ulu. Those might be more of Explore the Summit happens every day at 11 and 2, but other hikes and programs happen. You just need to check at the visitor center or on the park website on the calendar widget. That'll tell you what's happening. One exciting thing that's coming back, and this is the first time since the pandemic, so we haven't had a cultural festival since 2019. In July 22nd, actually, we will host again our annual Hawaiian Cultural Festival in the Kahuku unit of the park. So we're very excited to bring that event back too.
That would be cool. That would
Yeah.
really be cool.
Hawaiian music, cultural demonstrations where you can learn to play konane, which is a strategic Hawaiian board game, not unlike chess or checkers. Weaving, lei making, all kinds of really neat things, so you can connect kind of to the Hawaiian culture that's so connected to this national park.
Yeah, this wonder of nature that you're at this wonder of nature.
Right.
Which is, do you do any dark sky events or anything like that? You mentioned
We
about
do. We're actually, we just submitted our application to become an international dark sky park because we have
really?
so little development around the park, and also because of the observatories on Mauna Kea. There are, astronomical observatories up there that they require a certain low level of lighting. So you'll see amber lights for street lights all around Hawaii Island and whatnot. So dark night skies are a big, I guess, a big facet of the experience at Hawaii Volcanoes.
Yeah, that's we were really amazed by were the reflectors in the road. We were coming back at night from the park to Kona, and
Yeah,
there were no overhead lights. But the
right.
reflectors in the road were so perfect. I mean, with the headlights, I mean, it was like a rainbow in a way, just out in front of you. It was so cool.
Right. And you bring up a good point about there not being street lights or, navigational lights throughout the park or in other areas. It's always a good idea to bring a flashlight with
Yep.
you. And if it has the red filter, even better, because that it's not only good for the wildlife in the park, the bird species. There are native seabirds that migrate or they fly at night to their nesting places up on the slopes of the mountain. But it's also good just, courtesy for other visitors in the area not to have that bright white light shining in their face if you have a headlamp.
Absolutely. So sorry, I keep using the word cool. I can't think of
Well, things are actually hot at Hawaii Volcanoes.
Yeah, it is. So, are there any things that you would ask people to remember of sorts?
Yeah. So, like a lot of
visiting?
national park, oh yeah, you have a great picture here. So there's two things I think for people to know. One is stay on trails and stay out of closed areas. This is a volcanic park. There are hazards here, like deep earth cracks, which are hidden beneath grass, not marked. There are gases in certain areas. Really the only volcanic related deaths we've had in this national park have been in closed areas where people deliberately disobeyed the signs and went into a closed area. I cannot stress that enough, to stay on trail, stay out of closed areas. That's one thing. The other thing is, like other national parks, we grapple with heavy visitation during certain times of year, especially during the winter holidays and during summer months. We're a year-round park. We're open all the time. We're open 24 hours a day, in fact. If you're planning to come and visit during the summer or a busy winter month, like, around the Christmas, New Year's holidays, be prepared not to have parking. Be prepared to wait in line to get into the park. The best way is to avoid those months if you want to come visit, or come really early. Come at an alternative time. Don't come between 10 and 4 in the afternoon. The park's open 24 hours a day. Get here for sunrise. There is no more magical time to me than to be in the park for sunrise or right after that. The birds are waking up. No one else is out on the trails yet. It is just a splendid time to come. So try to be strategic and always make the park website your first stop. Any kind of park closure because of eruption activity or hazards is going to be right there on the top of each web page.
Are there any like tickets that you have to, like reserve for any like tours and that? Like some parks have that now, where you have to get tickets.
We haven't. Not to say that won't happen in the future, but it is not right now. You do not have to have a reservation to come into the park. We will be going cashless pretty soon, so paying by credit card or getting your digital pass online. You can find out more information about both of those things on the park website. But yeah, just keeping that in mind.
That's good to know. That's really good to know. Cool. And then, can people stay in the park? Are there?
Yeah, there is. We have the Volcano House Hotel, which is the oldest hotel in Hawaii. That is located within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, right on the rim of Kilauea Volcano. And then there's also campsites, of course. outside of the park. There are in Volcano Village, there are Airbnbs and lodges and things like that. Hilo is the closest airport, and there are hotels in Hilo. And then on the west side of the island, which also has a lot less rainfall. So if you're trying to plan, the iconic Hawaiian vacation where you're getting the best of everything, the beaches, the sunsets, any of the resorts from Kauai High on down to Keauhou area, that is beautiful on the Kona side of the island. So a lot of lodging opportunities.
Excellent. Is there, I know I've taken up way too much of your time, Jessica. Are there any
It's fun. I love talking about Hawaii Volcanoes National Park.
Are there any other things that, maybe we missed, questions I should have asked, along the way here?
Gosh, we've covered so much. I'm not thinking of anything. One thing that is helpful, people might not realize, there is a free National Park Service app. So if you're an app person, this is like the Hawaii Volcanoes app is really good. We've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. I know the guys that helped develop it. Maybe I had a little bit to do with it, not much though. But it is really like having a park ranger in your hand. So if you're exploring down Chain of Craters Road, and you want to know what is Luamanu Crater, you can pull that right up and it will tell you the significance of what you're looking at. And also you can download it for offline use. There are areas in the park where there's no cell service. So you can download it for offline use. Oh, cool. And it's free. So highly recommend the app.
Excellent. And then where can we go to learn about the park? I always refer maybe like...
the park website is excellent source of information. nps.gov/HAVO, HAVO. Or if you can't remember that, nps.gov/Hawaii Volcanoes is an easier one to remember maybe. But yeah, that has everything on it. Any kind of alerts, closures, plan your visit, what to do, what to wear. Gives you information about all of our natural and cultural features in the park and trails, all that stuff. So highly recommend the park website.
Awesome. Well, Jessica, like I said, I've taken up so much of your time, but I'm just so thrilled. I just have to tell you, I'm so thrilled. It's been such a delight talking to you. Thank you for this. Not just helping me bring back memories, but I hope that people that watch this, there's memories that await. And what's really cool, like we talked about, and it changes in this park too. What happened years ago is going to be different the next time.
Right. Well, I really hope you and your family have an opportunity to get back out and see the changes that have taken place since you were here in 2012. It is pretty staggering.
Oh, amazing. Well, Jessica, once again, I want to say thank you. And I hope that, as folks watch this, it inspires them to get out and, and live memories. As much as your backyard is this amazing, park, this amazing island, island chains. But I will say this, that folks don't have to go far to live a memory, because memories await in your own backyards too. So it doesn't matter if you're in Toledo, Ohio, or you're in, Hilo, Hawaii, there's always things to go and see. So as nice as it is to go to Hawaii, you don't really have to go that far to live some new memories, and see some new things that are really cool.
Right.
Yeah. So, Jessica, once again, thank you so very much.
Aloha, Doug. Thanks for having me. Mahalo nui loa, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right. Hey, we will see you. Get on out there, live, remember, everybody. We will see you. Bye.
Bye.